If you're familiar with this channel, you know I've been around for a little while and I haven't done one of these for a long time, or if at all, and that's a studio tour. So I figured I'd give you guys a bit of a show and tell of what's in the studio, what I use on a daily basis, the kind of things that I do, and just a show and tell of the gear that I have. So hopefully you'll enjoy it. Let's get straight into it. So I'm trying to hold the camera and the microphone at the same time and give you guys a bit of an explanation while I run you through this all. So just stick with me in this one, but pretty much you can see in front of you the main studio space. So I use 3 main doors, which is a digital audio workstation if you're not familiar with that term. I usually use Studio One, so Studio One's my main door, and then FL Studio is something I've been recently using for beat making, and also Maschine, and then I also use Logic. So I guess you could say 4. I get into Pro Tools sometimes when I have to, but I try not to if I can avoid it. But that's just something you can't avoid sometimes when you're working on clients' mixes and things like that. So we'll just start from the right hand side of the studio. Actually, I'll just start at the keyboard. This keyboard here you can see is an Akai MPK49. The keyboard has been with me for a long time, since I pretty much started. So back in 2013, I believe it was, when I first got this, and I kind of used that for a long time, and I still have it. It's just something I don't know, I haven't upgraded and I haven't really needed to, but yeah, that's what I use there. The next thing you can see here is the analog gear. This is my analog gear side of the studio, which I use a Wes Audio Dione 500 series compressor. This is a pretty neat compressor. It actually works in 2 different ways. So it's just a standard analog compressor, but it also uses a plugin which you can use inside of the door as a normal plugin would be used, and you can do recalls and all kinds of cool things like that with that compressor. So that's quite neat. It works really well, sounds like an SSL, and does the job really well. The next thing here is a little 1.8, which I did a review on quite some time ago, and that's a passive summing mixer. So if you don't know what a summing mixer is basically where you feed all of your audio out into the analog realm, and that returns back into the digital realm, and that goes through transistors and things like that, and basically it just creates an analog kind of vibe to your mix. So that's that. Next thing here, if you can see, these are KRK headphones, which is the KRK-8400, the KNS series. That's been something I kind of like and have used for a long time. Those headphones have just something I've grown used to, the sound of the KRK headphones, and I don't know why, I just don't want to change from that sound. And they're closed back headphones, so they can be used for, you know, recording vocals and things like that. Go across here, you'll see that the main running audio interface here is a UAD, the silver-faced Apollo Twin, and I'm really big on the UAD plugins. I like the plugins, I like the way they work. I like the integration into your door, having the analog kind of vibe to that as well. The way that the plugins work on the in section, so if you're recording vocals, or if you want to just, you know, put a compressor on there or whatever, you can actually record that on the way in. So that's kind of a neat way that UAD work. Next here then is another keyboard, which is a Samson Graphite M32. This is a neat little keyboard, very portable. That's primarily why I got it, because it's portable. And it can be used anywhere you go, pretty much USB plug-in straight into your computer, and then, you know, connect it to your DAW. So that's a neat little keyboard there, and it works really well. So here we are at the iMac. This is the main hub of the studio, and as you can see there, it's got FL Studio on the screen there. This computer has been through some upgrades. I actually originally got this when it was an i5. I took out the CPU, changed the CPU to the Skylake, upgraded i7, and upgraded the SSD to a solid state drive, and for drawing samples and things like that while you're working with beats. Anyway, let's move along to the next thing. As you can see in the background there, those speakers in the background, there's 2 sets of speakers. First off, the HS8s, which are Yamaha speakers. So you can see here the HS8 has a decent sized woofer on it. That's the main speaker that I used to use a lot. This is primarily the thing I upgraded from. I've had so many different studio speakers, but I ended up with the HS8s because I feel like they're the most accurate for the price that you get. And then above that is the Avantone CLA-10, which, if you're familiar with the CLA-10, You'll know about the NS10 because that's what started all this whole hype with the replica of the CLA-10. It's a passive speaker. It pretty much uses what you would call an amp, which I'll just go under this nasty wiring there to show you. This amp here is what runs it, and you can see the great wiring that I've got going on everywhere, so just ignore that because it's not going to be like that forever. But that's pretty much how those speakers are run there. So the amp is running the speakers. Obviously all the audio gets fed to that amp, and then the amp feeds the audio to the speaker. Works exactly the same on any other speaker like an active speaker, but except for the amp is external to the speaker rather than being in the back of it. So if you move across, then I'll just scroll across. There's a neon light in the back of the computer there on the desk. You can see that changes colors to my taste. Then you can see the Maschine Mark II, which has been with me since I had the Akai MPK 49 as well. It's pretty much a similar kind of time when I bought this. Haven't really needed to upgrade it because it's worked quite well for what I've used it for. I primarily don't use the hardware as much as I use the DAW, well, I guess I should say Maschine as a plugin. So down here is the Zentour. This is the main interface inside of my studio. It runs everything, including the speakers that you see there. It can run up to 2 sets of monitors, probably even more if you wanted to, but that's how many I run on it. The Zentour is pretty much I guess, one of the better interfaces that I've had in the time that I've had interfaces. As you could see when I showed you just before, the UAD, I still use both of them, mainly for different things though. The Zentour I use a lot for A to D conversion because I really like the way the A to D sounds and the D to A when you're converting it for analog gear. And also I like the way that it just sounds in general. It's just a very wide sounding image. It's hard to explain, but it's definitely a little bit better than the UAD that I've currently got. I don't know about the new UAD comparing it to that, but I haven't heard that many good results, comparing it to the older stuff. Anyway, that's kind of the gear that I've been using as far as A to D conversion, D to A, and also listening for any mix alterations and mastering and things like that. I've had no real complaints other than, a few things like the software and also the volume dial on that interface there. Sometimes it has been a little bit fiddly and it hasn't worked exactly how it should. But so the next thing here is just a laptop, which is a gaming laptop as well as my external music laptop. So if I'm ever on the road or I need to do video editing, away from the studios, then this is a laptop I use. It's the Y740, which is a Lenovo laptop. This laptop's been pretty cool. I just recently got it. I haven't had it for that long, and I've used it for mainly gaming and things like that, but I have used it when I did travel overseas for pretty much all the video editing stuff that I needed to do while I was away from the studio. I also have down the back there, you'll see there's an external hard drive. There is another one at the back as well. You can't really see it, but it's that black thing that's in the middle there. And then I've got another couple of external drives which I also use for backing up all of my crucial data. So in case for whatever reason the studio catches fire, or if something happens, if I get broken into or whatever, I do have a backup pretty close to what I've currently got on the computer. So I try to back that up on a regular basis. You don't want to lose all your hard work. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. If you did, remember to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you get any updates for any new videos that come out. Otherwise, I'll keep all the specs for everything that's in here in the description below so you guys can check that out. And hopefully you enjoyed this. Catch you on the next one. Peace out.